Hello everybody and welcome back to the Train Brothers Railway. Today is our long overdue next installment of our RailPro, or how to install RailPro in a locomotive series. We've been outside in the garden while the weather's nice, but it's been raining lately, so here we are back on the bench and we're installing RailPro. So right now we're on to our next step, which is the mounting of the LEDs. I've went ahead and did it already just because it's so tedious and so small, but we've got all of our number board lights on or mounted. We've got our LED for our front light, we've got our cab light and rear light, and the 3mm lights or 3mm LEDs did end up working in here. We've got it mounted in there. They just slipped right into that lens, so we didn't have to do any drilling or cutting or anything like that. And then this one here is the cab light. It looks rather crude and zoomed, but it's nice and straight. We got it tucked up there so you won't see it from the window. And that one will be our cab light and our rear light, which will be two separate functions on these guys here. And then in here we have the front light, which with the, if you guys remember on the last video, I was talking about a concern of how to mount it in there with that 90 degree. We did end up just taking side cutters and nipping away that little bracket, and so we could just slip it right in there and hot glue it. And then we went with the 5mm LED lights in here, and all we did was put some black electrical tape on it just to make these number signs a little bit brighter. But it's a 5mm LED. We just shoved it right in there, put a little hot glue on it, and it seems to be holding right good. These ones here, we did end up twisting them together because we want those guys to come on all at the same time, so that when our front lights are on, our number board lights will be on as well. But what do you say we turn these on and see what they look like? Okay, so this is what it looks like just with the lights on, which is pretty bright. You can definitely tell it's on when it's bright out. And then hold on with the lights. That's pretty good. I'd say that's pretty bright. I like that. That looks good. You can definitely tell number board's lit up quite nicely. Got the light there. I might need to do a little bit more work for the tape, because if I can grab it here, there's gonna be light showing with this grate in. It's gonna show the wires if we see it a certain way. See how there you can see? So I might need to work on that, making that tape job a little bit better. Other than that though, I'm quite pleased with how bright that is for a 3mm LED. I mean, it's quite bright. I like it. Well, there you have it. It's pretty simple to mount all these LEDs, especially if you use hot glue or whatever. Well, there you have it. It's pretty simple to mount all these LEDs up in the trains. Pretty straightforward. Just have to remember that depending on what functions you want means how many runs you're going to have back to your RailPro board. And I think you have quite a few functions. I can't remember how many we have here offhand, because there is one of them that's dedicated for the ground, and there's another one that's dedicated for something else that I'm not quite sure. I'll have to look back in the manual. Anyways, the next step will be to take our pieces of wood. We'll cut a couple blocks here to elevate this off the RailPro, or off the chassis, because this whole thing is a heat sink. This is how it dissipates the heat from the electronics. I don't know if you can read that, but this surface does get hot, so we want to keep that off of the plastic board, and we'll keep it off so it can have lots of room to breathe. And then we'll be tying in our motors, and we'll be hooking up the soldering to all of our lights and all of our different functions. And we still have the speaker to mount in. That's the next problem. We've come past the problem of the LED lights. Now next will be the speaker, to figure out where we're going to put this, because if we mount the board here, I'm not so sure that there's going to be enough height in this cab area here for the speaker. So that's going to be our next battle. But I guess the real important thing is just to take your time, make sure that you don't mess anything up, and if you get frustrated, just stop and take a breather, come back to it, because many different ideas come to you after you've been away from it for a little bit, but it does take some time and some figuring out to do this, but it's pretty straightforward and pretty simple, and there's obviously a ton of videos on YouTube on how to do it. So until next time, guys, take care, take it easy, and keep it on the rails.